Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear on this Friday morning. We've got a great show lined up, but first we'll do our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. High today's going to get up into the 90s. And it's been really warm in a lot of places, but the rain has cooled places off, and we're going to talk about the rain in a minute. But the low, they predicted low all week at 77, but tonight they're predicting low of 73. So it's going to be a little bit cooler than anticipated in our night. Water temperature around 83 degrees. Let's take a look at our river readings. A lot of y'all want to know what's going on with the rivers. Well, here it is. Apalachicola near Bluntstown is reading right at a 5 foot this morning. It's going to have a little bit of a drop to it. If you're fishing on Saturday, it'll be dropping just a little bit up there around Bluntstown, and just a little bit, okay? It's going to get on down about 4 points. Choctawhatchee, yesterday and the day before had a big drop on it. This morning it's reading a 5.6, but it's going to level off for the weekend. Should be some good steady fishing on both rivers, the Apalachicola and the Choctawhatchee. You know, the thing about these feeder creeks are always interesting, and you sort of get up in these sloughs and these feeder creeks, and there's some fine brim fishing on both these river systems. Up in so many creeks to mention, I'm not going to dare start. One day I'm going to do a show on just all the feeder creeks in each river system. They're really fascinating. Now let's take a look at our fishing game times and go ahead and do it before we get to our tide chart. Our time brought to us by Mark Cowart of Counts Realty. Mark's our time this day, we're looking at 8:04 to 10:04. Excellent time this morning. You can sleep late, okay? This evening, 8:31 to 10:31. All right, and also our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. We're looking at July 10th here on Friday, a little bit of a tide, and you can see tomorrow now is going to be an excellent tide. It's going to be coming in. It's going to be really dropping out. Starting in the middle of the morning, it's going to be dropping out, okay? And then with good strong tide, all next week we'll have some strong tides. Our marine forecast will be coming out of the west at about 5 to 10. All right, we'll take our break and be right back. All right, welcome back. Hoping you're getting ready for a big weekend outdoors, and hopefully our weather will cooperate. And I know it's run some people off, especially on Wednesday, ran some people off, but should be a nice weekend to get out and do some things, okay? Let's start off with some pictures. We've been going through Shark Week and all. I just wanted to show you, I've got all kind of little add-ons to this Shark Week. We do our own little Shark Week, but these were the attacks off the Carolina coast that we've had this summer. Fascinating, and I'm convinced. I didn't know why we had all of them. Now I'm convinced why a lot of these sharks are down there, because a lot of, again, the food is down there, and a lot of different things. But you can see the different dates and all that, all from the northern part of North Carolina and South Carolina. Jeff has fished there some, and I'm going. I was telling Jeff when I retire, I'm going to go fish the Carolina coast. I've always wanted to fish the Outer Banks. I'm going to spend a whole week up there. That's one of my little bucket list things I want to do. Some great fishing. Has a great history there off the Carolina coast, and I'm not going to go into swimming too much, but I'm going to do some fishing. I may charter some captains or whatever and do some fishing on my own. But I'm looking forward to visiting the Outer Banks. Okay. Next picture. This is that storm that came in Wednesday. I got this picture, but I was fascinated that morning. I'm going to tell you the story, but I just want to show you this picture, and we're going to talk about it when I finish showing the pictures. This is off the Panama City Beach Pier. This is coming in Wednesday. And the picture taken by Chris Wynn's brother while they're fishing. Well, it's funny, the chance of rain Wednesday, if you looked on the weather, it was 20% chance of rain. And that was a pretty strong 20% right there. But we're going to talk about a fascinating picture right there. I saw a lot of pictures. This had nothing to do with fishing, but if you walk in the woods this weekend, you make sure you watch out for poison ivy. I just want to show you what it looks like. It's sort of really waxy now. We've had a lot of rain. It's really growing. So be careful of a poison ivy, a poison oak also. It can really get you really scratchy and all. Okay, here's a nice red snapper. Jason Shingler. Jason's an excellent fisherman. That is a nice red snapper. That feed 2 or 3 people right there. Okay, now I don't usually copy a headline. I just want to share you this story. Sarasota man on life support after spearfishing. Here's a story. A couple of days ago, this 21-year-old guy and his friend went out spearfishing. Not deep water. They were just like off a pier or something, and somehow they bumped into each other, and the spear gun accidentally went off and hit this young man. It actually went in. Now, I read the details on it. I don't want to be gory, but the spear actually went in underneath his ear and came out underneath the other ear. The spear is embedded in this young man. The spear is still there. They're waiting for him to get stabilized. He's in really bad shape. It's right at it's not in the brain, it's at the brain stem. And they don't know how much damage it's done. And they've looked at it and they've ruled it an accident and just bumped into him and somehow the spear went off. So that's really a freak accident. So just be aware of that, though. That was here locally in Florida. All right, let's go to more positive things right here. Little Anna Petronas, who just graduated from class this year. Anna loves fishing, and I've had several pictures of her. She's right here. They went out and they caught 375 pounds of fish on that trip. All right, just a real quick note. Go ahead and put this on your calendar. Jeff Bodorf has set the date for the 8th annual. It's going to be in November this year. We've encouraged him to put it in November because of so much stuff goes on in October. And so go ahead and put it on the calendar. A long way off, but you know how supportive we are of the Elizabeth Bodorf Memorial Redfish Tournament, and it's just a big deal. Okay, so now let's talk about that weather. I was in two places. I was at Cape San Blas, and then I went to Howard Creek, and I left Howard Creek and went back to Cape San Blas. So I checked the weather before I left the house, and I was fascinated watching that because it wasn't like anything else, just coming in from the west, coming in from west of us and moving to the east. It started developing, sort of like mushrooming up. And when I see those, I always get fascinated. So I started watching. I'd watch it every 30, 20 minutes, whatever it was. And it started developing right down there off St. Joe Bay and a little bit inland. And it just busted open. And I got hit over in Howard Creek. Driving back to Cape, I got hit. I started watching. And then when it got really big, it started moving from St. Joe Bay into Panama City. And Jeff was telling me he could hit it over here with the Jinx Avenue it's like a tropical storm. And, way up north of us, up north of part of town, we didn't get hit. But that's what I was talking about. A lot of times these storms don't, stick to the pattern we think they're going to do. Mostly you see a wave of thunderstorms come in. That's most of the time. But sometimes those really dangerous ones will just, boom, sort of develop. And those developing storms are the ones you really catch you off guard. And this one had a bunch of lightning in it. The wind was bad, but the lightning was really bad in this particular storm. The previous storms we had this summer had a lot of really strong winds, and we've talked about it here. I talk a lot about the weather because, we're outdoors right in the middle of it. So just be aware of that, okay? Let's talk about being aware of things. I always want to invite the captains to come on the show. I've had, over the years, I've had Justin Leake, Matt Smith, James Pick, Mitch Coleman, different captains come in. And all captains out there have a standing invitation to come on Panhandle Outdoors, talk about your business, inshore, offshore, talk about it, promote it, show some pictures, talk about, some things you enjoy fishing and you enjoy different customers. And I always get great comments on it. By the way, I'm going to get Matt and Justin on next week also, giving us a midsummer report on catching. But anyway, a lot of people say, well, you prejudice toward Matt and Justin. I love Matt and Justin because I've known them since they were this high, and they are special to me. But all these captains here, the whole area from Choctawhatchee Bay down to Apalachicola Bay, you're welcome to come on the show. Just call me. Jeff puts it across the screen, my number and my website. I'd love to have you come on, okay? Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. We're getting ready to do our giveaway at the end of this segment here for our seafood and all. A lot of folks are asking about Wendy and Walter and the family, what all was going on. I've really been surprised how many people knew they were going and all. So they have a little website they put together, a little a blog, and we've talked to them. They're having a very good time, and they call this little blog the Wandering Woodrick. So I've copied a couple of things, and I didn't do a good job copying this picture because it's called the Wandering Woodricks, and it says, okay, I cut off the word not. It says, not all who wander are lost. That's a little motto. So that you can go to up the top of the page, www.wanderingwoodricks.com. Okay, here's just a couple of pictures that I've got from them. Okay, their first stop. Okay, this is the first stop they had was up in. Okay, it's not gonna work. Oh, there it is. Okay, Vicksburg, Mississippi. They stopped there and looked at the battleground. Wendy loves history and all, and they started in Mississippi. That's Walter's home state. Then they went up there to Arkansas, camped out along this river, the Norfolk River, that flows into the White River there. Did some great fly fishing, okay, and really enjoyed camping there. They went over to St. Louis and watched some baseball, watched the Cardinals play, and spent a little bit of time in St. Louis. And then they went over to they went north there to the Badlands. I've never been there, but they said it's an awesome place. Everybody visited, so they're up there several days and visited places here. Went up they were close to Mount Rushmore, got a visit there, and then they headed straight west from there, and they're actually today they're in Big Sky Country. They're in Montana, and they're staying at a place. And she was, I talked to Wendy on the phone about 2 days ago, and the reception's not very good, breaking up, and we've texted them, but they're in a place there. They're staying on the ranch and staying with a family that has 2 little girls the same age as their little girls, and really good folks, and they really going to like it out there. And they're doing some ranch work, they're riding the horses, working on the fences, and just different things like that. So they're going to be there a little while. But you want to keep up with them, and they're going to visit all around Montana. So they're having, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip that a family can take. They're planning on staying there out in that area for a long time, and they really don't have a calendar. And I texted her the other day. I said, "Hey, do you know Shark Week's on Discovery?" And she texted back, "We do not have TV." So, and she said, well, "We are loving it," and that. You know, sometimes I can understand that sometimes. Of course, you want to have Panhandle Outdoors, but you can go on YouTube and get Panhandle Outdoors. But it's really fascinating. They really don't have the cable and all. They're staying in this sort of a remote area. They don't have a lot of the folks they're staying with don't have cable and everything. So they don't have it. So anyway, it's a fascinating time. Now, talking about good things happening, I had Rick Corley on the show. I got a nice email from Robert Scarabin on Captain Rick on the show. I'm going to read it to you. He said, this came in right after Rick was on the show Wednesday. He said, "Hey, I just love Captain Rick. He's my favorite guest. He gives his knowledge freely, and his head is full of it. Coach, please have him come on anytime he can get there. Robert Scarabin." Thank you, Robert, for sending that. You know, I told Robert it's always, I emailed him back. It's always great to hear positive things, and it really, I passed that on to Rick, and it you know, we try to have such a variety of things on the show here, and that's one of the things. Rick Corley does have an enormous amount of experience around boats, and no one around in probably in the Southeast that has as much knowledge of boats as this man does. And it started way back when he was little, and it's a constant thing. And you know, he's been called in expert witnesses on some huge jury trials and all, and they've gone by his word. So this man is fascinating. So glad to have him on there. Okay. One of the things also I was talking about, and I don't know if I have time to get in. I may not have time to get into this. Remember, I did a summer list to do, and I was going to give you a checkup on it. I had about 20 things that I don't really have. I was going to see how many of these things you have done. But one of the things I was looking at last night, and 2 things I didn't put on here about some summer things to do. Is a lot of fun. Was crabbing and archery. That's also, I wanted to give you a sort of a mid-summer checkup on different things we've been doing, and as far as doing outdoors. And floundering, I've got some, you know, this past week I haven't gotten any reports on floundering, but keep in mind the weather has just been really tough on a lot of things. So, but anyway, I do this. I don't have time to get. I want to read each one of them and talk about it, so I don't have time to get into it. But we'll go ahead and get ready to do our drawing. I heard and got some good comments on that tuna that we showed a video on when I went by Tarpon Dock Seafood. I had some of that tuna, and folks, I want to tell you, it was great. It was one of, in fact, Chip's little girls, they don't eat a lot of fish, and they flipped out over. They just had that's the best thing they've ever eaten. So we put it on the grill. You don't cook them long. Cook them a little on each side for 8.5 to 4 minutes, and great tuna. So anyway, Tarpon Dock Seafood. Let's do our giveaway. This is going to be for the $20 gift certificate. I'll get $20 worth of tuna if they just come in, okay? All right, here's the winner right here. This is going to be Delane Bourne, B-O-U-R-N-E. Delane Bourne. I love that name, Delane. I had a cousin that's named Delane. Okay, and now this will be for the big red snapper, and that's good cooked on the grill, or it's good cooked up fried. And this is going to be Judy Corbin from St. Joe Beach. All right, Delane and Judy are our winners this morning. And speaking of giving away, we're getting ready already getting ready, have been for a while, for this fall's big sweepstakes. It's going to be our 2000th show, our celebration. We're going to sort of have a week-long celebration of folks. We're going to give away all kind of stuff. You're going to be amazed. So make sure that you have registered, and you folks that have won, all these folks that have won, look here, I'm going to put your names back in here pretty soon so you can have a chance to win twice. And if you win twice, I'm going to keep you out. But we're going to give away some really neat rod and reels and some really cool stuff coming up this fall in November, late October, early November. We got to check our schedule, but our fall sweepstakes is going to be very special. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back to our famous Friday fishing forecast. Welcome back to the famous Friday fishing forecast. This is one of my favorite times of the week because I get a lot of feedback from you folks, and I enjoy doing it. And I go out a lot myself, and I get tickled sometimes. Some of the stuff I write down, but it's online, and if you don't get all of it, but I wrote myself a note that on freshwater, one of the best bites they're getting now, yellowfly bites. But one of the guys told me that this week. But the brim bite is really good. Yellowflies, we're going to talk about those probably next week. Yellowflies are a fascinating insect out of mosquitoes and all. And by the way, I talked to mosquito control yesterday. They're getting most of the mosquitoes they're finding are in containers. That means our standing water. They're not in ditches and all places like that. They're in a lot of people's containers. So make sure you dump your water out. Any kind of standing water, just in a teaspoon, they can have all kind of breeding mosquitoes. So our spraying is really working in ditches and all, but a lot of times people's containers. I'll pass that on to you if you're having trouble with mosquitoes. So brim bite on freshwater has been really good. The river's been in good shape this past week, and I've been able to think about freshwater fish. You can get out of the weather pretty fast, usually pretty close to landing. Let's go to Mexico Beach. This Mitch Coleman is really good, and I was looking at this last night. You know, Mexico Beach is sort of in the center geographically of our coastal viewing audience. So a lot of times I like to give and Mitch is really good about giving report. Here's what he said. And his business is called Florida's Adventures. And here's what he said. He reports that snapper and kings are biting good on dead bait on most structure out to 70 foot. The gag grouper bite is slow, as is a pompano and shore fishing in general. Water's warm back up to 87, 88 after a few days. So the water's warmer down there. And let me go and say this about surf fishing. Historically, I love surf fishing, but really in July and August, I don't do very much surf fishing, and for two reasons. It has slowed down, just like Mitch said, and in addition, the catfish, somehow they know it's July and August. They just really get in because the water gets churned up a lot, and it gets really muddy and all, and you saw on the show this week also, I was at the Cape, and Chip had done the video on that shark that was caught in the middle of the day, and that water hadn't been real clear. So surf fishing is slow. So that's true in that area. Let's go down to Carabel. Carabel. What I want to say about Carabel, we're always. First thing I want to announce is they're having their kids fishing tournament next weekend. The Carabel Sea-Quarter Marina is so good about doing that. Of course, they're located right here, and you can go out and fish anywhere. And their tournament they're having, this is a big kids tournament they have. And it seems like every time I say Carabel or Sea-Quarter Marina, I'm talking about them doing something good. You know, it could be the leukemia research tournament they do in August, or the kids tournament, or helping people out. Everything I talk about Carabel is something good coming out of that little community. I really appreciate those folks down there, because they don't just talk the walk. I mean, they walk the two. They're really good about helping people, and I appreciate that. Okay, let's come back up here. The St. George Island again. The fishing around St. George Island has been slow. The grass has come in and cleared out, but if you want to fish off the coming in off the bridge right here, again, this is really good kayak fishing all through here. Off this Goose Island area in here is good kayak fishing. You can catch some redfish and trout here, and there's some docks here. If you have your little flats boat, hit these docks back in here. Some good red fishing in here. In fact, some guys have really good luck. The guides themselves fish in there. Okay, let's move on down. Of course, to the cut. We always mention Bob Sykes Cut, and it's just a constant place to catch bull reds. You got it, but you want to, a pretty good run over here. I don't fish it much anymore. We used to fish it when we could drive down here and fish it, but that's been cut off by the plantation. And so, okay, let's go on down. Let's move on down the coastline. St. Vincent Island. You can, Okay, St. Vincent Island. These freshwater lakes, they're coming back a little bit. They, you need to check on these freshwater lakes. They're getting a little bit of brim in them, but the storms have killed them off in the past. Again, freshwater fishing, floundering is really good. It's muddy up in here, but you can really catch some flounder. Catch them now, not gigging. And down here, the redfish is doing good on these oyster bars right here. I'm gonna run out of time if I don't move on pretty fast. The Cape, I've been there during the week. Let's talk about scalloping. Everybody wants to know about scalloping. Fascinating what's going on now. You can put in 2 places, 3 places here we'll talk about. Let me zoom on in around Black's Island. I've seen a crowd. I got tickled the other day. I just laughed out loud in my truck. This place where they cut off, where they told people not to park over here, I didn't count, but I remember I showed that sign, no parking anytime. They put the sign up so people wouldn't park there next to the road because of the traffic, and it's really close in and it's curvy. And finally, the state or county put a sign up, no parking between the signs, and the sign is about 400 yards distance. So I counted 17 vehicles parked between those signs. I don't know if they have a reading impairment or they just wanted to go scalloping really bad. But when I went around the curve, so I said, these people. But anyway, the government's done their job. They said no parking there, so people are at their own risk by parking in that area. So anyway, these people are starting to find some scallops. I got a report last night. I didn't, they're doing better than I am. I've scalloped along in here around Pig Island. I've scalloped over here by Conch Island. Didn't have good luck. Now I have not scalloped this area here, okay? But notice these channels. You can get off these channels, and I'm going to tell you where they're finding. I know exactly where they're finding them. They're getting off these channels, and there's some off channels, and also some in these deep holes. And I just haven't gone there. A lot of times, my kids are very scared of sharks, and I have a lot of respect for them. And that's exactly where those sharks hang out in those channels. So we don't get over in that area too much, but there are some big scallops there. So there are some scallops. I've got a report last night, and go online and get the rest of the fishing report here. I ran out of time on the flounder, bull minnows, and all, but the report will be online. Go to Panhandle Outdoors. Okay, I got to get out of here. Thank y'all for watching. Have a great weekend. Do something good for someone else, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.